Testing. Hi guys. So today I just want to do kind of a maybe an all levels different kind of variable flow mixture with a lot of yoga and Pilates. I might do some Vinyasa, I might do some Hatha, just a little bit of everything. So with a caveat that today I did a yoga class as a student through Yoga Glow, and while I was doing it, I got a little bit of a tweak in my back. So I wasn't able to teach my 4:30 today because all y'all were busy, which is fine. So decided that I would record a class instead and hopefully be able to do more of a therapeutic kind of approach with some strength so that you know that we can integrate these practices in a way to help heal our bodies as well as our mind. I'm looking at my clock, it's about 4:36. I'd like to do something about 35 minutes so that it's not too long, maybe moving it to 40. I might curtail the Shavasana at the end, make it a little shorter, but I certainly want you to get some rest. Again, I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do in the practice. I guess I'll figure it out once I get on the mat. But let's all kind of come together. I'm gonna go ahead and step to my mat. And I am gonna grab a yoga block. So I'm gonna place the yoga block at the center of the mat with the long side facing the screen. So I'm gonna take a seat. And what I want you to be mindful of when you sit on the block is, as I say in my in-person yoga classes, is to sit more toward the front edge of the block. So you want to make sure that you can let your outer thighs drop. So important to note that I want you to approach using a block when you need it as a tool, not as a crutch, right? Using a yoga block is a great thing when your body needs it. So I can sit on the ground, I can sit in full lotus, I can balance on my hands in full lotus. But when my back hurts, I pull back. I go into a space where I say, okay, I want to take care of my body so I can continue to practice tomorrow, so that I continue to exercise the next day. So for today, I want us to be mindful that we're going to use both strengthening as well as mindful awareness to move forward through our practice. So I have 4:38 as the start for me. So I'm just going to stop talking. Take a moment to allow your hands to rest on your lap. Close your eyes and slowly begin to connect to your breath. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Notice how each in-breath expands your abdomen, rib cage, and chest. And each out-breath creates a subtle recoiling inward of the chest, rib cage, and abdomen. Relax your face, relax your shoulders, allow the chest to lift, root the seat, and relax any tension from your hands. Allow your outer thighs to press down as your spine rises up. Now let's transition our breath through Jayi Pranayama. So we'll take a subtle contraction of the back of the throat and breathing a little more slowly and more deeply. Inhaling through the nose and once again exhaling through the nose. Continue to relax the shoulders and simply find your breath. Good, now on the next exhalation, let's draw the chin toward the chest and feel a stretch in the back of the neck. Keep lengthening your spine and lifting your chest. And now let's carefully inhale, draw the chin up toward the ceiling, feel the front of the neck, release. 2 more times, exhale, chin toward the chest, lift the chest up toward the chin. And then inhale, lift the chin up, feeling a gentle elongation of the front of the neck. And 1 more time, exhale, chin toward the chest. And then inhale, slowly bring your chin up toward the ceiling. Now let's exhale, return the gaze to center. Let's blink the eyes open. Let's rest the left hand on top of the left thigh. So I've turned my fingers in. I'm going to open my elbow out, yet drop my shoulder. Let's inhale, reach the right arm up and over and take a little bit of a stretch to the left. So we're going to fan the right rib cage out, draw the right shoulder down. Now let's take the left hand, if you're ready, down onto the mat. So now remember, I'm still on my block, okay? So if you're still on your block, that's fine. We're just gonna sit here in a little side bend.
Now we're going to inhale, stack the spine. Exhale, release the right arm. So now let's turn the right arm in, draw the elbow out and drop the shoulder. Keep lengthening your spine, lifting your chest, rooting both sits bones down. Let's inhale, lift the left arm up, plug the left shoulder in, and exhale up and over to your right. Look to your left, keep rooting the left seat. Now you can go ahead if you'd like to and release your fingertips to the earth. Plug the shoulders in, breathe. So I want you to see the length in the spine here. See how you can still capture elongation while you're on the block and how it's going to feel different if you sat there. So now I'm going to rock slightly forward. I'm going to go ahead and remove the block from beneath me, but I'm just going to keep it nearby. So now I'm going to take a moment to switch the cross of the legs. So the left leg in front, I'm just going to bring the right leg in front for right now. So I spent a bit of time sitting with the opposite leg in front. So I want to give them both an even amount of space, both hips an even amount of space to open up. Let's draw the shoulders back. So we've elongated our spine in a bit of spinal side bending, right? Lateral side bending. So now we're going to go into a little flexion. So let's bring the fingertips to the mat. Inhale, draw the tailbone back, lift your chest. I want you to go halfway down. Exhale. So you can walk your hands forward. Notice I'm staying on fingertips, a little hard to see on the screen. Draw the shoulders back, pull the belly in, and lengthen your neck. So often in many of these practices, we start to look up or take the chin and neck out of alignment. I want you to just pull the chin in slightly so you create a diagonal line. Pull the abdominals in as you exhale, root your seat. Now let's take another exhalation, hinge from the hips and fold. So I'm going to bring my forearms down for right now. So typically in this pose, I like to go all the way into flexion. I like to drop my forehead to the mat and try to find as much length as possible, although sometimes it causes me to round my spine. So what I'm going to do here is just limit my ability to go down any deeper, and I'm going to lengthen my spine. I'm going to draw my shoulders back, and in my mind, I'm visualizing plank on my forearms, and then I'm also visualizing the engagement that I create in my belly when I do plank on my forearms. I'm going to apply that here so I get that sensation. Keep drawing the shoulders back, keep lengthening your spine, and push down into the mat. Good, now we're going to inhale, sit on up. Now I'd like you to exhale, rotate your upper body to the right so that center of the chest lines up with the halfway point of your kneecap. Frame your right leg, inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, hinge, stay here. Maybe bringing your hands to the mat, maybe your forearms, elbows. So again, really easy to drop down for some of us in this position, but you want to make sure that you lift your chest and lengthen your spine instead. So I'm going to pull you back today. If you need it, right, get a block or two and go ahead and place your forearms there. Draw your shoulders back. So I have many blocks in my car right at the present moment, but even though I went to my car earlier today to pick up David's dry cleaning, I hesitated to grab the blocks. Isn't it interesting how we avoid doing certain things? But I'm going to bring in my blocks tonight. So I have a few more, and I can teach you guys a few more different things. So we're drawing the shoulders back, the elbows in. And we're going to stay facing to the right. We're going to inhale, sit on up. Now, one is to deepen the twist. So we're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right thigh and rotate to the right with the right arm behind us. We're going to inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, and then exhale, add a gentle twist. Drop your shoulders, lift your chest. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, gentle twist. One more time, guys. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, gentle twist. So now let's inhale, return the spine to center. And we're going to do that whole sequence again, switching the cross of the legs. So now we're going to bring the left shin in front of the right shin. Draw your shoulders back, sit up nice and tall, fingertips to the mat. Exhaling, hinging from the hips, and either your palms come down or your forearms come down. Draw your shoulders back, root your seat, and lengthen your spine. So what's really fun to explore for me about these YouTube classes is that I kind of get to give you guys some insight into how I would practice on a day that I'm not feeling so great. And maybe kind of buck the Vinyasa, Pilates, and yoga conventions a little bit and kind of do what I want to do in terms of sitting a little more and maybe not doing things in the so-called order that, right, makes sense for our bodies. For most bodies, right? Because it's a general teaching approach. Doesn't always mean that that's what everybody's specific body needs. So I can kind of take you a little bit through what I do, which is kind of fun. It's also, you know, I'm here by myself except for the cats, so it gives me something to do. So now let's inhale, come all the way back up, draw the shoulders down. Let's exhale, rotate to face that left inner knee. So the center of the chest is going to face that inner knee. We're going to frame that left leg. We're going to inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, hinge and fold. Notice I keep my right buttock down and I'm trying to capture as much length out of my spine as I can. I'm avoiding rounding. I'm drawing my chest forward, my shoulders back, and I'm actively pressing down. So again, I want you to think of like that example I gave you before, that you are actively pressing down like in a forearm plank, that energy there. So I want you to be mindful of that. Make sure that you keep elongating, keep pulling your belly in and feeling the stretch along the right side of the body here, specifically the rib cage, a bit into the hip. Inhaling and exhaling. Don't know if you guys can hear that little sound in the background. That's actually Milo snoring. He's fast asleep. Milo's my black and white kitty some of you guys have met. It's a very cute sound. And then we're going to inhale, come all the way back up. Remember, we're going to add the twist. So we're going to take the right hand to the outside of the left thigh and exhale, rotate to the left. We're going to inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, add a gentle twist. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, rotate. Good, 1 more time. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, rotate. Good. Now we're gonna return back to center. So we've got to switch the cross of the legs 1 more time to even this out. And I know it can be challenging to sit this long. Always use a block. You can always straighten your legs out. So when we sit today for this last little bit here, we're gonna take a little deeper side bend or maybe a little different side bend. Let's call it a little different. We're gonna inhale, sweep the arms up. Want us to go up and over to the left. So we're going to take the left hand to the right wrist and we're going to root the right seat, fan that right rib cage out, look to the right and breathe. Try to stack the shoulders, stack the hips. Do I love this variation of the pose? No, because it's challenging. It requires a lot of kind of side body work, which is hard for all of us. With the arms overhead can be a little challenging. If you find like it's too much, just gently bend your elbow and use your left hand to the forearm to minimize some of the demand. But really draw that right rib cage out to the right. Then inhale, stack your spine. You may find that that right side feels a little longer. The fingertips just might be. So we're going to take the right hand to the left wrist. We're going to go up and over to the right. Look to the left, root the left seat, fan the left rib cage out, gently drawing that left arm over to the right. Remember, to minimize some of the strain, you can take your hand to your forearm. Breathe, root your seat, and try to square your shoulders and square your hips. Good. Now we're going to inhale, sit on up. Exhale, release the arms. Let's go ahead and come up to all fours. We're going to place the wrists directly underneath the shoulders and the knees directly underneath your hips. So I am a proponent for all 4 tabletop work all the time. So we're going to tuck the toes, especially for the back and belly. We're going to exhale, tilt the tailbone between the thighs, hollow out the belly, round the thoracic spine, and here rock back and forth in an angry cat. So the breath stays consistent, but I want you to focus on widening the back. And as you rock back and forth, feeling how that helps stretch a little bit, helps release some tension. Good. Left shoulder, spend a little bit of time there, releasing your neck. Then exhale, return the nose to face back down. And next exhale, tuck your toes, hollow out your belly, round your spine, and hold your angry cat. Really send your mid back up. Now inhale, point your toes, lengthen your tailbone, unfurl the spine, shoulders back, chest forward, cow. Now we're going to tuck the toes, hollow out the belly, round the thoracic spine, rock back slightly, cat, and come up onto your fingertips. Pull your belly in and rock back a little deeper. Really stretch out that low back. Stay on the fingertips. Inhale, point the toes, lengthen the tailbone, unfurl your spine, shoulders back, chest forward, cow. Breathe. Can you draw your right shoulder back and lift your left arm out to T? Find your balance here. Draw that right shoulder back. Then exhale, bring the left fingertips down. Draw the left shoulder back. Open your right arm out to T. Try to stabilize the hips. Breathe. Aligning the wrist with the shoulder. And then bring the fingertips down. Let's stay on our fingertips, tuck our toes, and take a downward facing dog as we exhale on the fingertips. Breathe. Widen your arms shoulder width apart. Draw the seat back and up, the chest toward the thighs. Allow the collarbones to broaden and connect to your breath. Feel the thumb press down, pointer press down, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger press down. Feel the centers of the palms lift. Glide the shoulders down the spine. Look back at your feet, make sure they're hip width and parallel. 2 more breaths, right? Keep shifting the weight into your heels. So now we're gonna exhale, drop the palms. So we know that our hands are gonna be shoulder width apart, feet hip width apart. So notice that I have a pretty decent downward dog. I can sink my heels to the ground, really pull my belly in, really draw my hips up. But most of us don't have that. So what I'd like everybody to do is just gently lift up onto the balls of the feet and bend your knees a little bit. Try to get your thighs and rib cage to connect. Now look back at your knees. Make sure that they track hip point width and parallel. Well, they may be slightly inside the hip point width, but I think you get a sense of the kneecap shining straight forward. So my heels are lifting and I'm gonna try to draw my buttocks up. Keep sending the booty up. Keep breathing, drawing the chest toward the thighs, looking back at your feet, triceps spiraling in, feeling the arms broaden, the shoulders broad in here. Then try to keep those hips lifted and just exhale, straighten the legs. Good, now inhale, bend those knees, hold. I'm gonna stay here a little longer, relax the neck. So I keep looking into the camera. I'm gonna stop doing that for a moment to relax my neck because it's starting to get tweaky. So what I want you to do now is focus on the spine. Feel space between the vertebrae of the spine, glide the shoulders back, send the seat up, and release tension in the back. Now exhale, sink the heels, trying to keep the spine and the hips unchanged. Let's do this one more time. Inhale, lift up onto the balls of the feet. Exhale, bend the knees, rib cage toward or to the thighs. Keep drawing your chest towards your thighs. Stay here, connect to your breath. Breathe. Good, now we're gonna exhale, sink the heels and hold here. Keep drawing the chest toward the thighs. So my back today is feeling a bit tight, so stepping forward can be a challenge. What I'm gonna do is kind of ease myself forward and assist my step forward with my belly. So typically in Vinyasa, we would come up to like a high lunge or something. Today, I want you to try being in a lower shaped lunge, extending out through the left heel, which would be the back heel here, drawing the right hip back, tracking the right knee in line with the right hip point. So we're just gonna inhale, rock forward with that back foot, exhale, rock back. Inhale forward, exhale back. Keep drawing the shoulders back, sending the chest forward. Inhale forward, exhale back. Let's do 2 more. Inhale forward, exhale back. Last one, inhale forward, exhale back and hold. Now I'm gonna come up onto my longest fingertips, which is gonna be the middle and pointer finger. I'm gonna draw my right hip back and I'm gonna exhale, sweep my arms back to frame my hips. I'm gonna lengthen my spine, create a long diagonal line from the occiput to the back heel. Now I'm just gonna lift up just an inch or 2 so that my chest and rib cage are off my thigh, or both off my thigh. So I'm gonna try to strengthen my back. You can see I'm wobbly. I'm moving around a little more than usual. So now I want to inhale, lift my spine up. I'm going to actively press my palms back like I'm pushing the wall away from you. I'm going to send the chest forward. And then I'm going to exhale, hinge forward. Good. Now I'm going to inhale, stand up again, press the palms back. Exhale, hinge forward. So what I'm trying to do here is strengthen my back without pulling it. Inhale, rise up and push back. Exhale, come forward. I'm gonna do that one more time. I'm gonna inhale, come up and push back. Then I'm gonna exhale, go forward, hold, the right buttock will work. I'm gonna bring my fingertips down to the mat, all 10 fingertips. Then I'm gonna inhale, straighten out my right leg, draw my right hip back, pull my belly in, and I'm gonna exhale, bend the knee. I'm gonna let that left hip sink a little bit. Let the left quad draw closer and closer to the mat. I'm gonna do that 2 more times. Inhale, straighten out my right leg, draw the right hip back. Then exhale, bend my right knee, and let the left hip sink a little lower. Quad gets a little closer to the mat. 1 more time. Inhale, straighten, exhale, draw my belly in. Good, now the next exhalation, I'm gonna go almost all the way down. So we're doing 4 repeats. Then we're gonna inhale, straighten, pull the belly in, exhale, lengthen the spine. Make sure you create length. And then the next time we exhale, we're gonna bring the left quadricep down. So try to get on the flesh above the left knee. If you're on that flesh, you're gonna point the toes, bringing the top of the foot to the mat. If you're on the knee, I'd prefer you tuck the toes. So I'm framing my right leg at the moment. I'm gonna stay there for a moment. I'm gonna draw my chest up. I'm gonna really go up on fingertips. If you have a block, You can always go up on the block, right? If you have more than one block, it would go on either side. If you have only one block, you can stay here. So you're gonna lift your chest, draw your right hip back and your left hip forward. I want you to feel the left hip point here beneath your left hand and draw the left hip slightly forward. So you really draw this right hip back. The left hip's gonna drop forward. Pull your belly in, come up onto fingertips. Now, when your back is achy, sweeping up into something like a full crescent lunge or a high lunge can be rather painful. So what I like to do is just exhale and then inhale, come up on bring my forearms to my right quad. I'm still gonna draw my right hip back and my left hip forward. I'm gonna release my hips. I'm also gonna be strengthening my back because I have to lift, so I'll walk you through the lift. So being mindful that when your back is injured, your hips can get tight or even super unstable at times. So we need to do some back work. So what you can do here is stay with your forearms to the right thigh, draw the right hip back and the left hip forward, keeping the pelvis coming forward, root into the big toe side of the right foot. Start to pull your belly button and tilt your tailbone slightly forward, lift your chest, and then bring your hands to your quad. Gently push into the quad, drawing the shoulders back and opening the chest up. So my elbows are opened out, my shoulders are dropping. I'm breathing as best as I can and as deeply as I can while drawing my hips forward. So this is a long sequence on this side. I'm hoping I can remember everything. Good. Now we're going to inhale, shift the hips over the left knee, tuck the left toes. Notice how my right leg is still not straight. I'm drawing my right hip back, my left hip forward. I'm going to stay here for a moment, but notice my toes are way forward of my knee. Okay, no big deal here, right? It's safe either way. I want to be here, challenge my balance a little bit. So now I'm just going to exhale, rotate my upper body to the right. I'm still going to draw my right hip back. I'm going to take my left hand to the outside of my right thigh, and I'm just going to bring my right hand to the small of the back. If it's easier for you, do fingertips down. If you want to work that reverse grip there, getting a little more stretch, it's the heel of the palm down, the fingertips up. Breathe. So draw the left quadricep forward, the right seat back. Connect to your breath. Now can you shift weight a little bit back, straighten out your right leg, flex your right foot without locking the knee, pull the belly in, maybe need to tilt the tailbone slightly forward, square your hips, keep the left knee over the left hip. Now we're going to inhale, return the spine to center, hands to the hips. Exhale, fold to that halfway point where you start feeling your belly start to react. Bring your fingertips to the mat and walk yourselves forward. So you may need to make adjustments. I adjusted a little bit left, right. Keep your toes tucked. Flex your right foot, press into the big toe side of the right foot and lengthen your spine. So today my back feels tight. So I'm trying to work on parallel spine, drawing my right hip back, feeling like my right thigh bone plugs into the hip sockets. And I'm on my fingertips. I'm going to attempt to bring my palms flat. Draw my shoulders back and send my chest forward. So I'm thinking of an oppositional line of the right seat and the chest. So the chest going forward as the right seat's going back. Breathe. So this will get into your hamstring, release a bit of the buttock, and also put some demand on the back, but it's kind of a healthy demand on the back. Lengthen your spine. Good. Now we're going to exhale, bend the right knee, frame the right leg, lift up off the back knee, and sweep the right leg back to downward facing dog. So we're going to send the seat back and up, draw the chest toward the thighs, allow the collarbones to broaden and connect to your breath. Breathe. So let's go through a vinyasa. We're going to inhale, rock forward to plank, pull the belly in, draw the shoulders back. Exhale to your tippy toes, hug your inner elbows in, slow lower to chaturanga, shoulders are back, elbows are in, neck is long, try not to stick your booty out. Then inhale, thread the heart between the shoulders in cobra. So I'm going to come halfway down to my cobra. I'm going to hug my inner elbows in, I'm going to draw my skull bone back and drop my chin slightly. Activate the gluteals here, tilt the tailbone toward the mat, pull the abdominals in, anchor your quads and tops of the feet. Then exhale, hips up and heels back into downward facing dog. So now we're going to do that sequence on the other side. It's a long one. A lot of stuff is involved. Fingers crossed, I remember it. Let's exhale, step the left foot forward, toes in line with the fingers. We're going to stay low, okay? I'm going to pull my belly in, I'm going to draw my shoulders back, and I'm going to lengthen my spine. So again, I'm on my fingertips, trying to stay up nice and high. So now I'm going to inhale, rock forward, exhale, drive my right heel back. So remember that oppositional line I talked about before, it works here. We inhale forward, we exhale, drive the right heel back. 2 more times, inhale forward, exhale back. Last time, inhale forward, exhale back. I'm really going to connect to the back foot. I'm going to start to keep my hips low, but I'm going to come up a little bit. So I'm going to come up onto my longest fingertips. I'm going to draw my left hip back, my right hip forward, and pull my belly in. I'm going to keep my neck elongated. I'm going to sweep my arms back as I exhale, find my balance, draw my left hip back, pull my belly in. Now I'm just going to inhale, lift my chest up and rib cage up off my left thigh. Good. So that's going to be the start point and the end points. Now we're going to inhale, come up, press your arms back, palms face back. Then exhale, fold, keeping the arms down by the hips. Inhale, come up, push back, left hip back. Exhale, fold. We're going to do 2 more of these. Inhale, come up, push back. Keep lifting the chest, open up through the collarbones. Exhale, fold. Good, 1 more time. Inhale, come up, push back. Then exhale, fold. So I'm going to slowly take my time to bring my hands down to the mat. That's a big transition for me, the way I'm feeling today. Breathe. Connect to your breath. Draw the left hip back, the right hip forward. Soften, tension. So now, keeping the knee bent, we're going to exhale. Slowly draw that right knee down like you're trying to touch the ground. Then inhale, straighten the leg back up, lifting the hips away. Let's do that again. Exhale, slow, lower. Draw the shoulders back. Inhale, lift. 2 more times, shoulders are back, chest is forward. Exhale, slow, lower. Inhale, lift. Now exhale, slow, lower, bringing the quadricep down, pointing the toes. Draw the left hip back and the right hip forward. Connect to your breath. So remember, you can always come up on a block. We're just going to lift the chest here. Start to open up that chest, lengthening through the spine. Breathe. Good, now we're going to take on an in-breath the forearms to the left thigh. So as I said before, just kind of teaching the body to get a little more height, to feel a little more open. Drawing the left hip back, the right hip forward. So you can find that right hip point here. Keep squaring it forward and maybe lifting it up a little bit as you pull your belly in. You'll feel that right hip flexor quad kick in. So the quad activates and the hip flexor gets a little bit of a stretch. Good, now I'm going to try to inhale, press my hands into my quad, open my elbows out and lift my chest. So I'm trying to activate the buttocks a little bit. Should feel the buttock muscles working without creating a whole lot of tension. All right, so we want to breathe here. Keep feeling like you have to really work to stabilize. Good. Keep lengthening the spine, lifting the chest. Connect to your breath. Now we're going to carefully exhale, hinge, and fold. So now I'm going to go ahead and tuck my right toes. I'm going to go ahead and shift my hips back. So I almost straighten out my left leg. So I want my right hip over my right knee. I'm going to inhale, come on up. So you're going to notice that I'm still trying to keep my ears over my shoulders over my hips. I'm going to pull the belly in and tilt the tailbone slightly forward. Notice that my knee is kind of not super bent, not straight. Now we're going to rotate to the left. Keep drawing your right hip forward. Exhale, right arm to the outside of the left thigh. So you can take that grip here, and I can't turn because of a wrist limitation, or you can turn your fingertips up. So I'm just going to stay here. Draw the left hip back, the right hip slightly forward, and connect to your breath. Find your balance. Every inhalation you lengthen. Every exhalation you add a little twist. Keep lowering that left buttock down and find your breath. Good. Now we're going to inhale, return to center. We're going to start to exhale, shift the weight back, straighten out the left leg and flex the foot. Avoid locking your left knee, hands to the hips. We're going to exhale, hinge and fold, reach down to the ground or to blocks. Straighten that left leg out, lengthen your spine. So I want you to elongate, pull the belly in, adjust as you need to, feel wherever you feel the stretch. There's nothing wrong with that. My body feels it today too. Just keep pulling your belly in. Now my goal for me is just place my hands down to the ground, keep my spine nice and long, and keep plugging the left thigh bone into the left hip socket. Today that feels almost like a lofty ambition. Breathe. Connect to your breath. Remember, keeping the right toes tucked. I'm sitting here hoping I did everything the so-called right way. Debating whether I should check it or not when I'm done, but we shall see. Shall see what I decide to do. Now we're going to exhale, shift the weight forward, bending the knee, walk the wrist slightly underneath the shoulders, tuck the right toes, lift up off the right knee, and go back to downward facing dog pose. So I'd like you here in dog pose to send your seat back and up, draw the chest towards your thighs, allow the collarbones to broaden and connect to your breath. Now, while you do this, can you really sink your heels, look back at your shins, and let the head drop. So imagine just shaking your head out and like you can take some of the tension out of the neck. So it's along the whole spine that we want to create release. So now imagine drawing the shoulders forward, let them drop, and then exhale back. Good. Now let's go ahead and go into that Vinyasa flow one more time. Inhale, rock forward to plank, shoulders over the wrist, pull the belly in. Exhale, tippy toes, slow lower to chaturanga, hug your inner elbows in, shoulders are back, trying to let the buttocks lift. And then inhale, thread the heart between the shoulders in cobra. Good, draw the shoulders down. So we're gonna exhale, lower halfway down, pull the belly in, lengthen the back of the neck. Breathe. Now we're gonna come all the way down to the belly. I'm gonna move my block out of the way. I'm gonna ask you to come into Sphinx pose. So placing your elbows directly underneath your shoulders, palms are down, anchor the hip points down, anchor the quads and the tops of the feet down, pull your belly button in, engage your buttock muscles. Press down through your forearms, drag the mat back with your hands, open your chest up, draw your skull bone back, and look at the space immediately in front of you. Make sure both hip points are down and find your breath. Breathe. Now we did something asymmetrical earlier where we opened our arm out to T one at a time, right? As we were in our tabletop position. Want you this time to start the right arm diving down, bringing the right wrist in line with the right shoulder. Now we're gonna roll onto that right shoulder. We're gonna bend the left knee, drop the head if you can, and reach your left arm back. And just hold a little stretch here. So I'm on my left outer hip. I've opened up to kind of pseudo do like a flip, and I'm reaching my left arm behind me. You can go to the hip, small of the back, or maybe down to the ground. I just want to get an additional stretch in my left shoulder, left hip as I stretch my right shoulder out. And some of you may be able to just reach back. Try not to activate your hip, your hamstring, but reach back and maybe catch your ankle and breathe, dropping that inner thigh down. Connect to your breath. Just a couple more breaths. Just feel a great big stretch in that right shoulder and chest. Lengthen your tailbone. Good, now we're gonna bring the left sole of the foot to the mat. We're gonna inhale the left arm up. It's gonna land in Sphinx. As you sweep your left leg around, bring your right arm in and return to full Sphinx pose. This should be a little bit of fun, as well as kind of opening up into a stretch, releasing multiple muscles and releasing some tension. Now, we're gonna open the left arm up, palm stays down, wrist lines up with the shoulder. We're gonna roll onto our back and we're gonna flip that right leg around, reach the right arm up and over, and either go to the small of the back, go to your, to the hip, I should say small of the back, or to the earth. Breathe. So you really wanna open your chest up, open your shoulder up. Those of you who can, start to drop that right inner thigh down and catch your ankle or foot and get a little more stretch here if that's available to you. So you add a little bit of quadricep stretch, right hip flexor stretch, left shoulders, left side of the chest stretch, right shoulder stretch. It's a pretty complex pose, but we can just kind of lie here and enjoy it. So my head is trying to stay on the ground. I like to practice on the ground. You could always go lift your head up. It's gonna make it a little more work. I think I find a little more benefit with the head dropping. Good, now we're gonna deconstruct the pose. Right arm rises, Left leg is gonna flip around. We're gonna try to use control. Bring the right elbow down to Sphinx. Bring the right leg down, bring the left elbow down. Pull your belly in, press down into the mat, open up the chest. Now really simple, we're winding down. And actually try to keep it to my time that I recommended. We're gonna open the elbows out, turn the head so that your left cheek's on the mat. Open the arms to T so that the wrists are in line with the shoulders. Let your body drop. Bend your knees and just windshield wiper your legs left and right. Now, the next time that your legs drop over to the left, I want you to let them go there. Breathe. So you can let that right hip point lift. So my right hip point is up, but I'm keeping my right shoulder down. Both of my feet are on the ground. That's not going to happen for everybody. That's fine. Everybody's a little different in their mobility. Feel the stretch in the neck. Breathe. Nice little prone twist. Then let's inhale, bring those knees and the head back to center. We're going to turn the head to the left and then start to windshield wiper your legs left and right. Releasing some tension. The next time that your legs go to the right, let them drop out to the right. And remember that left hip can lift. Breathe. Keep that left shoulder down. So notice I am engaging a bit into my right side. My right inner thigh is engaging a little bit. I'm not just letting myself collapse. There's still a little bit of work going on to hold me. Good, then we'll bring the chin and the knees back to center. We'll go ahead and straighten the legs, drop the tops of the feet. So for today, Shavasana will be in crocodile pose. So we're gonna take the hands, step one on top of the other, bring the forehead down on the top of the hand. Now your feet are going to turn out so the heels are in, toes are out, and we're going to drop the inner edges of the feet onto the mat. But that's not all we're going to do. We're going to really separate those legs apart and help release the back a little bit more. And just feel the rise and fall of your breath. Notice how with your forehead elevated, there's still a little bit of a spinal extension in the upper back. You still want to draw the shoulders back and press down through the forearms. We're going to feel the belly rise and fall, feeling the hip points and inner thighs, inner calves for some, certainly inner edges of the feet, press down into the mat. Then feel the release along your back. Inhale and exhale. Just allow the body to get heavier and to drop. Good, now we are going to slowly walk those legs back in. Let the tops of the feet gently rest on the mat. Draw the shoulders back. Bring the forehead to the mat. Draw the wrists underneath the shoulders. Shoulders are back, elbows are in. Inhale, gently come up to all fours. And then exhale, bring the big toes together and the knees apart as we shift into a child's pose. Bringing your forehead toward or to the mat, lengthen through both sides of the waist and connect to your breath. And walk your wrists underneath your shoulders. Shoulders are back, elbows are in. Press your forehead into the mat. We're going to inhale, sit on up. Bring those inner thighs together. And let's go ahead and come to a cross-legged seat. So today's practice was not one that I would consider gentle per se, nor is it a fully extreme, hardcore strength-based Vinyasa class. It's a little bit of Hatha, a little bit of kind of PT, a little bit of Pilates, and a little bit of Vinyasa all thrown in together to, in a strong way, allow us to continue to work on our body strength and mobility and flexibility. So I'd like you to bring your palms together in prayer. Take a moment to bow your chin towards your chest, lift your chest up. Let's close our eyes and practice gratitude, grateful for someone and something today. Om Shanti, Om peace to each of you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. I'm going to scooch forward, and I want to remind everyone that, especially as we have lots of transitions going on, so there's the COVID-19 scenario that we're still dealing with, especially here in New Jersey, where there's still a lot of stuff shut down. And now we have the Black Lives Matter riots, not riots, protests that have resulted because of George Floyd's wrongful, what I believe is a wrongful death. Whether you believe that what's happening is right or wrong, or whether you believe that we're going to be okay or not, come to the practice, sit on your mat, and just take a little bit of time to breathe. Things will eventually change. Things will eventually resume to some sort of normalcy. It just may look a little different than what we're used to. And that's okay. We just have to adjust. And my first teacher training for yoga was done in 2009 at Shivananda Yoga Ranch in the Catskills. And apparently Shivananda used to say, adapt, adjust, accommodate, be good, do good, be kind, be compassionate. So that's something to kind of think about as we move through what can be a very chaotic time. I do believe that African Americans, the Black population, the Black community has every right to fight for their rights. I stand with them in solidarity as a Hispanic/Latino woman, happens to be a white Hispanic Latino woman. I myself grew up in the city of Newark and know that discrimination does run rampant, and know that there is a lot of fear of law enforcement. So I hope that, if anything, this creates a dialogue and that we can start to see some change, improving the lives of African Americans in our country, and maybe improving relationships between the people who are here to protect and serve us and populations who are minority and who feel scared. Yogis, have a wonderful, wonderful day. I wish you all a wonderful evening. Enjoy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Namaste.